everyone, welcome back to another Beast of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaur series review. Today we're taking a look at the last of the big boys, the Tarbosaurus bataar. I'm not sure if this is going to be the last review of Wave 3. I record all the intros with the figures in box so I can take them out and mess around with them as I get through each review. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the last one or the Tyrannosaurus is. But anyways, this is the last of the big figures in Wave 3. The Tarbosaurus retails for $140. If you want to order one for yourself, the link to Creative Beast Studios is down below in the description. If you're outside the US, Everything Dinosaurs link is down there also. It's pretty cool to see, T-Rex's Asian cousin here getting more attention lately. I had an appearance in Camp Cretaceous, just popped up in Jurassic World Evolution 2. There's been a few figures of Tarbosaurus over the years, so it's kind of nice that old Tarbo here is getting some love. Now, there's some issue with the scale of this figure, but we'll get to that a little bit later on in the review and the reason it is for that. So anyways, let's just go over the packaging really quick. And the boxes are so big on these figures, I have to pop the camera off the tripod to check out the packaging. Top of the box, Beast, the Mesozoic logo. You can see the Tarbosaurus all front and center in that nice window packaging. Tarbosaurus along the side of the box, Tyrannosaur Series 1/18 scale. And then along the side right here, we have the Tarbosaurus artwork. I just love the cutout now on the package. It really makes the packaging stand out on this series. Side of the box, we have Beast, the Mesozoic logo, Tyrannosaur Series. Back of the box, another product shot of the Tarbosaurus along with the rest of the figures in Wave 3 and some facts about Tarbosaurus. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And here is the Tarbosaurus, the packaging. And it's been days since I recorded the intro with the figure in the box to the time I got to record this point in the review, which has given me a newfound appreciation for this figure. This was going to be my least anticipated figure from Wave 3, and after playing with it the last few days, I have a new appreciation for this figure. It's fantastic. For some reason, the body type, this is the Daspletosaurus, Gorgosaurus, Albertosaurus body type. The articulation is really smooth on the Tarbosaurus for some reason compared to my Albertosaurus, especially in the torso region. But just that slick black coloration just makes this thing look so sharp. And speaking of the coloration, like most of the Tyrannosaurs, this coloration is taken from inspiration from real life animals, and the Tarbosaurus is based off the inland taipan and just all that black and dark browns, and with those splashes of cream and yellow on the underside really gives it a nice contrasting look. Just the dark coloration just gives this thing just like such a sharp vibe to it, and the head sculpt is absolutely perfect. Probably one of the best head sculpts in Series 3. Yeah, really liking this thing a lot more than I thought I would. And now for measurements, this figure is 20 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, or 50.8 centimeters, and about 7 inches tall to the top of the head, or 17.8 centimeters. So Tarbosaurus in real life got to about 33 feet long, or 10 meters. So I'll put this figure in the 120 scale range. And, like I said, beginning review, there's some issue with scaling with this figure. Tarbosaurus would have required a completely unique mold to get it truly in that 1/18 scale. But there's plenty of other specimens that have been found that are smaller, juveniles and subadults. So this can work as a young adult or a subadult at the scale that it's at right now. It just would have been very cost prohibitive to produce an entirely unique body. It would be somewhere in between, this body type and the T-Rex to, properly be a Tarbosaurus. But, I'm fine for what it is. And let's just go over the accessories really quick. I go over these all the time in all these reviews. You do get a display base. This is the same base that came with Gorgo, Dasplete, and Albertosaurus, just painted different. The rocks are painted a nice natural gray coloration. You have all the moss and grass painted nice green color. The roots are picked out in brown. Here is the steel peg for the solid leg piece to plug into. This is very crucial if you want your figure to stand up pretty secure on your shelf on these bases. It can go in much deeper and just have to apply a lot of pressure on it. And the angle I'm at right now is not going to make that possible. On the side of the base is hollow. You do have an H-clip to disconnect this rock for different display options. Just be really careful where you place this clip, because I lost mine for 2 days. It fell off on my gray carpet that's in the bedroom. It took me forever to find it. And then going down to the legs, like I said, you get a pair of solid legs that provide a lot of support for the figure, and you have a pair of articulated legs. I actually have the running toe already plugged in on here. You can see the joints all over the figure, and they plug in with this peg right here. And then for the feet, you do get a pair of closed toes, and you do get a pair of the open toes. Those come pre-installed on the articulated legs, and you do get a pair of the running toes. And one last thing we need to cover, just like every figure in the series, you do get a card with that beautiful artwork that's on the packaging with the Tarbosaurus, beautiful in this foggy looking metal. And on the back of the card, we do get some information about Tarbosaurus. So that will do it for the accessories. Let's move on to some details. And now let's zoom and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with this absolutely beautiful head sculpt. Like I said, this is probably one of the best head sculpt in Wave 3. Here's a view of it from the top. So, you know, Tarbosaurus is very closely related to Tyrannosaurus rex. Actually, some paleontologists actually consider it the Asian species of T-Rex. But Tarbosaurus had a much more narrow skull, and it really lacked that, you know, really wide binocular vision that T-Rex had. But I did compare this head sculpt to a skull skeletal, and it is pretty much spot on. It is absolutely perfect, and all that black coloration on the head really just gives it such an awesome look, especially with that bright yellow eye and black pupil. And there's a little bit of a brown wash on here to bring out all the nice scale detail all over the figure. There's just a little bit of light gray at the tip of the snout, and the bony crest are all decked out in nice brown coloration, nice wash over them. And let's just take a view from the top right here. You get to see how nicely that head sculpt came out. Like, it's one of my favorite head sculpts in the series, and I really didn't think it would be. Like, I really wasn't like super looking forward to this figure, and now I can't stop taking pictures and talking about it. That good, and you can see where the trim was done. You know, originally the hoodies were supposed to come up to here on these figures, and after how Wave 1 was received, just how it restricted the articulation, these were dialed back, and it helped a lot with the articulation, which we'll get to a little bit later. On the underside, with the bright yellow and orange for the underside of the throat, and for the underside of the belly, we get some nice brown markings mixed in with all that yellow and cream color that goes down to about the halfway point of the tail. Going down to the body, that black transitions into a darker brown, and you have these lighter stripes along the side of the body. And now going down to the arms, Tarbosaurus had one of the smallest arms, you know, proportionate to its body size. Let's get the camera, come on, focus in on that. When these were originally, the prototype was showing off the arms are too big, but David corrected it and gave it smaller arms. So the arms are unique on this Tarbosaurus compared to the other Tyrannosaurs with this body type. And then going down to the body, let's take a look at the markings from the top going down to the legs. Nice powerful looking legs, more of those light brown stripes mixing in with all that dark coloration. Love the back of the legs with that yellow and cream coat. Almost dropped this big bloke. And then going down to the feet, toe claws are decked out in glossy black paint. Just love all the details on these figures. And then going down to the tail, get some more nice coloration before you go to a nice dark tip. So yeah, all around this figure is absolutely beautiful. I just think that black coloration of, you know, primary black just gives it such a sharp and sleek look. And I forgot to do the inside of the mouth while we were talking about the head, but all those teeth are decked out in nice white paint, nice dark pink, and glossy coat for the details inside the mouth. So yeah, this thing is awesome. Wasn't expecting it. Definitely a sleeper hit in the series. Now for articulation, the mouth can close completely flush. The jaws can open up that wide. That's pretty decent. You do have a little bit of articulation on the tongue, but I really don't like to mess with that because some people, their tongues will snap. I think like the paint either got glued in there or something, so I try not to mess around with those too much. And now for the upward articulation on the head, it's really not that great. I wish it can get a little bit more of an upwards curve. Maybe a disc joint in the future on these would help a lot. And then for downward movement, also not too much. And then for side to side, you actually get decent side to side. Let's zoom the camera out because the tail bangs into the back of my studio when I do these front shots. But yeah, you get some nice side to side movement on these two joints right here. And then going down to the neck, this can swing up a little bit. Just trying to keep my camera in focus while I'm doing this. And then going down. Oh, one more thing I wanted to talk about. This actually did feature an entirely different hoodie sculpt compared to Daspletosaurus and Gorgosaurus. You do have this little flap that hangs off the front, and that's a little bit off-putting. On the other ones, you don't have this flap. It contours much better to the body. Just really don't like how that looks. It's always sticking out on mine, so that's just one small critique on the sculpt on this thing. And then going down to the arms. Arms can move forwards and backwards. They can swing out just a little bit. You get 90 degrees of bend on that joint on the arm, and you get some nice wrist articulation. It's kind of hard to see because the arms are all cast pretty much in black. We get some nice articulation on it. Just be very careful with those wrist joints. These are very, very small joints, and I can see them. If you're a little too rough with them, they're going to break. Then going down to the mid-torso. For some reason on the Tarbo, it's really, really smooth and easy to operate. You can just, hinge up that joint to get the torso to go up, and you can swing it back down quite easily. I don't know, for some reason it works much better on the Tarbosaurus than the other figures that share this body type, other than my Plesiosaurus. For some reason on my Albertosaurus, it's really, really tight, and you get some nice side-to-side movement on that joint. And then going down to the tail, so I just popped the tail out while I was messing around with that. We'll get that back in a second. Hind legs can move backwards and forwards. You can get a decent bend on those knee joints, and then for the ankle, you get straight, go forward, side to side, and you have a ball joint on the feet. It's gonna be really interesting to see the upgraded disc joints when those get implemented into Cyberzoic. And let's get the tail popped back on, and then for the tail, up, down, side to side. It is 3 jointed. You get the same articulation. And going down to the tail, it is a bendable rubber wire. So yeah, with some work, you can get these figures into some pretty decent poses. And like I said, for some reason, the Tarbosaurus articulation is really smooth, especially in the torso area compared to the other figures that share its body type. And for comparisons, here it is with the Hammond Collection Robert Muldoon. I say it all the time during these BoTM reviews. 3 3/4 inch figures are 1/18 scale, so they work perfectly with this line. And there's actually been a few Tarbosaurus figures over the years. Here is Pianesso's, which I absolutely love. Just a big, fat, chunky looking figure. And here is Mattel's attempt, I think, was this Dino Rivals? I forgot what series the Tarbosaurus came out in. And then it did make an appearance in Camp Cretaceous and looked totally different than that. I'm sure we're probably going to get like a Hammond Collection version of the Camp Cretaceous Tarbo sometime in the future. But yeah, Tarbo's definitely gotten some love over the years, and it's nice to have a Tarbo figure in all these different scales. Now, unfortunately, there's no ceratopsians that can pair up with Tarbo. The closest thing that we got in BoTM is the Sinoceratops, and here is the Protoceratops. I'm just doing some Asian species since Tarbosaurus is from Asia, and here it is with the Velociraptor, and that's how I got the Tarbosaurus on my display shelf. I just have it with the Asian and European species. I try to do everything by formation when I set my BoTM display, and that's where the Tarbo ended up. I figured it was the easiest way just to keep everyone grouped together. But here is something that did exist alongside. Here it is with Mattel's Jurassic World Dominion Therizinosaurus, and it'll be so awesome, somewhere down the line that we do get, look at them, looks like they're kissing, that we do get a BoTM Therizinosaurus. I know during the live streams that David does every few weeks, a lot of people ask questions like what is going to be next in Cyberzoic and BoTM, and there's a lot of species on the table. Therizinosaurus is one of them. Now it's just when are they going to pop out, because Cyberzoic is a very, very ambitious project, and I really can't wait to see all the species that are going to appear between BoTM and Cyberzoic. And here it is, one of the smaller Tyrannosaurs, the amazing looking Bistaherverser. And lastly, here it is with its close relative, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Mesozoic T-Rex just makes every single figure in the series look small. It's just a massive, massive brick of the figure. But like I said earlier, the largest Tarbosaurus specimen is around 33 feet long. Still not as big as around the 40 feet that a T-Rex can get to. But yeah, the Tarbo definitely looks small next to the Rex here. But, like I said, it would have required an entirely unique mold somewhere in between the size of this figure and this figure. And at that point in BoTM, it just was not, financially feasible to pull that off. But maybe down the line, maybe we'll actually get a full-size adult Tarbosaurus, since we're getting away from families and we're concentrating on different species with unique body molds. Maybe that'll happen years down the line. But right now, I am quite happy with how this one turned out. So final thoughts on the Tarbosaurus. I'm glad I sat on the review and didn't do it right away when the figure came in. I spent days playing around with this thing, and I have a newfound appreciation for it. It's definitely the sleeper hit of Wave 3 for me. I was happy with getting a Tarbosaurus figure, but I just really wasn't super excited for it because of the scale issue with it. But getting this thing in hand, the paint job is fantastic. The head sculpt is pretty much perfect. And just for some reason, the articulation is smoother on this one than it is than other figures that share its body type. Yeah, this thing is great. If you get it, you're not going to be disappointed with it. It's just an absolutely beautiful looking figure, and I just cannot take my eyes off that drop dead gorgeous head sculpt. And like I said at the beginning of the review, if you want to order one of these from yourself, links to everything Dinosaur and Creative Beast Studios are down below in the description. So that'll do it for the review. Just gonna finish off the Eotyrannus and wait for my Holland Good Alamosaurus come in, and I'll get those reviews out. I feel like it's gonna be like a slow month or two. I don't really have a lot of stuff coming in. Maybe I'll go back and review some older figures I haven't reviewed on the channel, like from Safari and collecting and stuff. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned for all that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.